Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about all the books I read in April and basically how my April TBR ended up being a complete disaster. So I should have seen this coming because I think I did try and read like 8 books in the month of April, which is just like, that's like 2 books a week, and I probably could have done it if my month were more like February and March, but April was so jam-packed with events and stuff. We moved apartments, it was my birthday, my family came into town, just like so much was going on in the month of April that like, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to go by order of which I read them and then give you guys my thoughts so that we can just start there. I'm currently having a hard time figuring out when I read each thing, but I'm pretty sure the first 2 books I read in the month of April were Unravel Me and then the one following this, which I'll talk about in a second. Unravel Me is the second book to the Shatter Me series, like the original Shatter Me trilogy. So this is book 2. This just follows the continuation of Juliet's story in this universe here that we have going on. So I ended up giving Unravel Me 3.5 stars. I just felt like, I did really enjoy this, but I just felt like the first half of the book is really slow, which tends to happen with second books, I feel like, maybe. Because I feel like they've got to like set everything up again for like whatever big is about to happen in the third book. And it, you know what I mean? Like that's what usually happens in trilogies in my opinion. I did really enjoy this. I just didn't feel like it was as good as it could have been. I started to understand our main character a little bit better, especially in the second half of this book, and I really liked where our main character, Juliet, was like her thoughts and her emotions, everything that was going on in her head. She finally was like allowing herself to feel these things, and so I can really appreciate that, and I'm glad that we got that in this book. So I did enjoy it. 3.5 stars, just wasn't the best. It was better than the first book though, which is funny that happened, because usually it's the other way around. I did think it was way better than the first book though. So following that, I read Ignite Me, which is the third book in the Shatter Me series. I ended up really liking this. This book is the end to the trilogy. The only thing I will say is I did feel like the ending was just slightly anticlimactic, but I think I did give it 4 stars. Well, okay, I gave it 3.75 stars, but basically 4 stars. I did love this a lot because of some of our main characters. I loved them a lot, and we got to see more of them, and we got to see more development from certain characters, and that's the kind of person I am. Like, I love characters and character development. Plots come second to me. Some people are the opposite, which is totally fine. That's just how we all are. I love characters. I love relating to characters, and we got some great character stuff in this book, and I really enjoyed this. I highly recommend this series. This series does feel like if I were like either in high school or like 18, 19, 20, I would love this series, but being a little bit older now, it's not as great maybe because I'm just not as easily pleased maybe. I don't really know. Anyways, loved it. Loved this book so very much, and I recommend the Shatter Me series. Pretty sure I just said the same thing over and over again, but you get what I'm saying. Okay, the next book that I finished / read in the month of April was Ruin and Rising, which is the third and final book of the Grishaverse Shadow and Bone series. I don't want to get into this too much because I could rant for days, but I'm pretty sure I gave this a 2-star review. Let's double check here. 2.5 stars. There's a big old truck driving by. But if you've been following my reviews or my Goodreads or my YouTube videos, then you would know that I didn't really love this series to begin with, so it's really no surprise that I gave the third book a 2.5 stars. I think all in all, this series was just not for me. It was a little bit of a letdown. I didn't like any of our characters. Like 2 of the characters, Nikolai and the Darkling, you just don't get enough backstory on. Like, I'm confused why everyone's obsessed with him. I think he's really hot too. I think he's really intriguing too, but Leigh Bardugo did not give us nearly enough backstory to really be obsessed with him. Everyone always talks about the Darkling, or like online or on Twitter or on Goodreads, and I was just like I get it to a certain extent, but also we don't know enough about him. Like, why didn't Leigh Bardugo give us more about him? You know what I mean? I don't know. It was okay. I just didn't really like it, and I'm looking forward to 6 of Crows because I am going to read that this month in May, but this series I'm kind of just like washing from my memory. The only reason to not forget about it completely is because of Nikolai, and hopefully either June or July I will read King of Scars because I love Nikolai, so shout out to Nikolai. Okay, the next book I read in the month of April was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I think like I started this in the month of March. No, I didn't. Maybe I did. I'm not really sure because it was on my April TBR. Anyways, I loved this book. I gave it a 5-star rating. I had to delete some stuff on my memory card. It's flashing at me. Okay, so I did that. As I was saying, I read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets in the month of April, and I really liked this book. I didn't like it nearly as much as The Sorcerer's Stone. I have read all of these books before. This is like, I don't know if you haven't been watching, I've mentioned this before, but this is like my second and a half, maybe third read of this entire series. I just feel like J.K. Rowling is just pretty prejudiced in this book, like setting up an entire house of children to therefore be bad kids, you know what I mean? Like that's pretty prejudiced. I'm a Slytherin, so I take a little bit of offense to that, but I'm also trying to not be biased, and I just think it is just kind of stupid, in my opinion. Anyways, I enjoyed this book. I will continue on with the series. I actually don't think I'm going to read Prisoner of Azkaban in the month of May, but maybe in the month of June. I've been really into them, obviously. If I have time to get into the Prisoner of Azkaban this month, then I will definitely read it, but I really don't have anything else to say. 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. Even though it's not my favorite, 5 out of 5 stars because I just can't really rate a Harry Potter book lower than 5 stars because I just love the world so much. Anyways, I think I'm going a little bit out of order because now I have no idea when or why or who I finished these books. That made no sense. But next book I read was Tower of Dawn by Sarah J Maas. This is the 6th book in the entire series, but if you're counting The Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel, it's kind of the 7th book, and then Kingdom of Ash is kind of the 8th book. It's just a little bit confusing, but anyways. I loved this book so freaking much. I did not think I was gonna love this book. I did think I was going to enjoy it, but I had no idea that I was gonna love it as much as I ended up loving it. It was so amazing, and the character development was so needed for Kale. We had a lot of Irene and a lot of Nesrin, and I love Nesrin as well, and then we met so many beautiful new characters. I love Sartok. Anyways, I love this. I gave this probably 4.5 out of 5 stars because I was being super picky, but in all honesty, basically just, it's 4.75 out of 5 stars. I don't know why I gave it 4.75. It's so good. I gave it on Goodreads, I gave it 5 stars, but I just put in the review 4.75 because I was being really picky, but I loved this so much. If you're like reading the series like I was, and I was like, can I skip this book, you know? You can't, first of all, you really can't. There's so many important characters in this book, and if you're feeling that way, trust me, I felt the exact same way, and then I was so happy with this book, so happy with this book. You have no idea. So, I'm really excited that I love this book so much. It definitely became one of my favorite of the series. My favorite I think is book 3, and then this rivals book 4 for my second favorite book, so highly recommend this series in general, but also if you're worried about this book, don't be, because it is increíble. And I just realized I have a ticket of some sort in here. Oh, a fast pass reminder from Disneyland. Okay, the next book I read in the month of April I was very excited for, and that was Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. Now, I started this like April 17th or 19th or something like that, and it literally took me 2 weeks to get to. So let me start off with saying that I gave this, I think on Goodreads I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but like in like 3.5 because they don't let you do halvesies, you know. I really liked this book in some parts and then felt really lost in other parts, and then didn't love the characters, the plot in some parts, but then loved some of the characters in other parts. And because of my mixed feelings, I couldn't give it more than a 4-star review, or like I couldn't give it a full 4-star review. Will I continue on with this series? Yes, I do have God's Grave on my May TBR, so I'm hoping to get around to that this month. But I will say, I really liked our main character, Mia, and I didn't actually think I was going to love her. I didn't really think I was going to end up loving her because for a while she didn't feel very human-like, which is, you know, how like down to earth or like really casual, really normal. She felt more like bad assassin, doesn't really have any emotions. But then the Jay Kristoff really showed how many emotions she has and how deep she is and how she feels a lot of things, and it made me really, really like her. I loved the boy you meet in this book, Trick. I love him so much. So I do recommend this book to others, but I just wanted to throw it out there that I didn't think this was as great as everyone said it was. Now, I don't think it's bad by any way, shape, or form. You should read my Goodreads review because I do go into depth about it all, but That's really all I have to say. Did I like this? Yes. Will I continue on with the series? Yes. I just didn't think it was as good as everyone says. You know what I mean? And that could just be me, like I just didn't vibe with it like everyone else, which is totally fine. Everyone has their different preferences. I did enjoy it though, which is the most important part of this little spiel. So yes. And then the next book I'm going to talk about, I technically have not finished, but because it was in my April TBR, I'm going to talk about it and let you guys know where I'm at with it and that I'm still continuing on with it, and that is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now I am like halfway through this book. If you know about the movie or the stories, I'm just at the part where they like Bilbo just saved everyone, like all the dwarves he's with, from these spiders, like the huge giant spiders. Anyways, I am really liking this. I just think I picked it up at the wrong time. I started physically reading it, but now I'm just basically doing full audiobook on Audible, and I'm still really liking it, really enjoying it, but I think if I would have picked this up at a different time. I picked this up around the same time that I started reading Nevernight, and I think that was the problem. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if I was only reading one book at a time, I would have gotten through this physically reading just fine. Anyways, I am really liking it. I'm really liking the audiobook, and so I feel like maybe next year I'm going to physically read this, like try again with physically reading it. But that being said, I am going to finish the audiobook. I'll probably have it done within the next couple of days. I am pretty focused on Kingdom of Ash, which is what I'm reading right now though. But I'm going to for sure finish this because I mean, I love the story of The Hobbit. I love The Lord of the Rings, so I'm not concerned that I'm not going to finish it. It's just not going to get done. Obviously, it didn't get done in the month of April. So there were 2 other books that I included in my April TBR that I didn't get to, and that is Caraval, which is fine because I'm going to get to that either, I'm for sure going to get to that in June. So I'm not too concerned about that. And then I think I also talked about Six of Crows. Yes, I did talk about Six of Crows. Well, guess what? I didn't get around to that either because I thought Nevernight was going to take me like 5 days tops and ended up taking me 2 weeks. So I am going to read Six of Crows this month in the month of May. It is on my May TBR and I'm really excited for it. So that didn't happen in the month of April either. And then I think I wanted to reread a book called Cruel Beauty, which is one of my faves. It's this book down here, and I also didn't get around to that. So clearly the month of April was just slightly, maybe almost a disaster. Something like that. But what can you do? I'll get better this month. I had a great reading month in the month of March, and I thought I was going to carry that over into April, and that just didn't happen. And I think that's because a lot of these books, like, I wasn't in love with. There was only like 2 books out of this entire book of stack of 7 that I was like really in love with, and then the rest I was just like kind of struggling to keep up with or just didn't love very much, and I think that has everything to do with it. Anyways, those are all the books I have to talk about. That is my entire month of April in reading. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, join the family. Also, I always link my Goodreads as like the first link in the description box because I want as many friends on Goodreads as possible. I want to talk to you guys on Goodreads, see your reviews, and I want you to see mine so we can talk about all the books. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. I love talking to you guys down in the comments. I think it's so fun. I love talking to you like we're besties because we basically are, so shoot me a comment down there and I'll respond. With all that being said, I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great morning, noon, evening, day, night, whatever happens to be that you're watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.